Morning guys, again we're going to continue with chance, topic 29, Planet Maths, and today we're going to be focusing in on 185. Now before we do that, Miss Walker would like to just concentrate on the sums on length last night. So I'll just get my answers here. And yeah, starting with 4a. So 4a says 7 kilometres and 3/4 of a metre plus 800 centimetres. Now note the state of this. This is because your darling teacher and teacher from last year, read it incorrectly. I read my own work, which I made myself, to be 3/4 of a kilometre initially. So that's why it is, don't present your work like that. And another very important learning curve for you all, don't do a Mary on it. I've been saying it to Miss Campbell's class, to my class this year and to Miss Campbell's class last year. Read your question carefully. Read over it again. Make sure you're reading the measurements correctly and what you're being asked to do. Don't think you're asked to do something. Make sure you know you've been asked to do something in particular. So we have 7,000 metres is a kilometre. That's what I did there. And then 3/4 of a metre is 75 centimetres. So I cannot put the 75 anywhere near the 7,000 metres because centimetres, there's not even 1 metre in 75 centimetres. This is only 3/4 of a metre. And then 800 centimetres, well, 100 centimetres is a metre, therefore 800 centimetres is 8 metres. So I can put the 8 metres under the 0 metres. 7,000, no hundreds, no tens, no units. And therefore, guys, I get 7,008.75 metres, or 7 kilometres, 8 metres and 75 centimetres. So read over that carefully again. Make sure you understand why the 75 is where it is, because it is not a whole metre. Therefore, it cannot be added to a metre. You add like with like. You add your unit metres to your unit metres, your 10 metres to your 10 metres, your 100 metres to your 100 metres, thousands, and so forth. Then we have 50 and 2/5 of a centimetre divided by 7. Well, we know 2/5 is 0.4, 3/5 0.6, 4/5 0.8, etc. And then we have 7 into 5 will go, 7 to 50 goes 7 times. You need to know your tables, guys. You need to know your tables for everything you do. And then 7 into 14 goes twice. Remember, align your decimal points in addition, subtraction, and division always in order to get the sum correct. In multiplication, it is totally different because the number of digits after the decimal point in the question determines the number of digits after the decimal point in the answer. Okay, the number of digits after the decimal point in the question determines the number in the answer for multiplication only. The rest, division, addition, subtraction, you must align the decimal, just points, just like we have here. So then we go on to C. And we have 4.75 km plus 0.6 km. So I just decided to leave in the decimal point because 2 of them had decimal points in it. So 4.750 because there's 700, 5 tenths and no unit metres. And then we had 0.600. Why? Because 0.600 is 600 metres. Because remember that decimal point there is not like the decimal point you use in decimal fractions where you have 6 tenths, tenths, hundredths and thousands. This decimal point is to distinguish between kilometres and metres. When you're doing length, the decimal point there is only to distinguish between metres and centimetres, kilometres and metres and so forth. That is so important, guys. Then you have your why is the 5 there? Because there are 100 centimetres a metre, so there 500 centimetres is 5 metres. So then when you add them all up, it becomes 5.355 km or 5 kilometres, 355 metres, which is the answer. Just go over that again, guys. Make sure you understand where I got my 0.005 because I had no hundreds, no tens, but just 5 metres from the 500 centimetres. I have to put it under the units because it's only 5 centimetres. It is not 10, it is not 50 metres or 500 metres. And therefore 5 metres is 0.0, no hundreds, no tens, 5 units. Remember that decimal point is not a decimal fraction. It is just to distinguish your kilometres from your metres when you're expressing, basically when you're expressing a metre as a kilometre. Okay, or when you're expressing a millimetre as a centimetre. Okay, next. 14. So we have 3 7/1000 of a kilometre. So 7,000 of a kilometre is 7 out of a total possibility of 1,000 because there are 1,000 centimetres in a metre. So it's 3.007. And then the 45, we cannot put the 45 under the 0.7 there under the top line because that's 7 metres. we only have 45 centimeters. You cannot add centimeters on put them onto your meters. They are separate, okay? So we end up with 3 kilometers, 7 meters, and 45 centimeters, or expressed as a decimal, it is 3007.45 of a meter. Okay? Now you can also express it, we're using kilometers, but we're not doing that in fifth. Okay, guys? So it's 3007.45 of a meter. And that 0.45 means it's 45 centimeters. 45 over 100 out of a total possibility of 100, because there are 100 centimeters in a meter. Please go over that, read it carefully, examine it, and ensure that you understand everything I've said in 4D. Then 4E, 15 centimeters plus 5, that should be a second millimeters. Hello, there you go. So, and that's equal to 15 centimeters, 5 millimeters. So anybody who's looking for a catch, there is none. If you want to express it as cm, it's 15.5 cm, because there are 10 millimeters in a centimeter. Therefore, it's 0.5. 1 0 in after 1 0 and 10. Therefore, there's one number after the decimal point. And then 4f, 6.1 km, take away 76 meters. So that's 6.100. It's 100 meters. It's 6 kilometers, 100 meters. So 6.100 of a km. Take away 0.076, because it's 76 meters. It is not 760. If you put in 0.76, that would make it 0.760. And 760 is 760 out of a possibility of 1,000. That is not the case. It is only 76 meters. So 76 meters is 0.076 of a kilometer when expressed as a kilometer. Okay? And you take it away and you get 6.024 km, or 6 kilometers and 24 meters QED. Then lastly, 94 km, take away 8,900 meters. So there's 94. If you took away that decimal point, put a comma there instead, you would have 94,000 meters. And that would be, then you'd be taking away 8,900 meters. But we're expressing it as a kilometer. So it's 94.000 km, take away 8.900 km. Okay? Because that's 900 over 1,000, which is the total possibility of 1,000, 1,000 meters in a kilometer. And then you end up with 85.100 kilometers, which is 85 kilometers, 100 meters. If you took away that decimal point there, you would have 85,100 meters. And 85,100 meters is 85 kilometers, 100 meters, because there's 1,000 meters in a kilometer. QED. Please read over these questions. Ensure you understand them, because guys, it is so important, length, and the whole idea that the decimal point in length is not your normal decimal fraction. The decimal point is used to distinguish centimeters from millimeters and kilometers from meters, and no other reason. Okay, and if you were to take away your decimal point and put a comma in instead, you would be converting them then to the actual measurements. For 8.9 as a centimetre, it would be, if you take that out, it would be 89 millimetres. And the next one, if you were to take out, for example here, 6.024 km, it would be 6,024 metres. But when you convert it, you have to put in your decimal point to, when you're expressing it as a km, or when you're expressing it as a centimetre. For 15.5 cm. Nice. So then we just recap. 10 millimetres is a centimetre. 1 millimetre is 1/10 of a centimetre. Therefore, expressed as in decimal form, it is 0.1 centimetre. 0.1 of a centimetre, excuse me. 100 centimetres is 1 metre, so therefore 1 centimetre is 1 over 100, the total 100, because there's 100 centimetres in a metre, and that's 1/100th of a metre when expressed in decimal format. It is 0.01 of a metre. Then 1,000 metres is a kilometre. So 1 metre is 1,000th of a kilometre. 1 over total possibility of 1,000, because there's 1,000 meters in a kilometre, and then you have no hundreds, no tens, and just 1 metre. So it's 0.001 of a kilometre when expressed as a decimal, when expressed as a kilometre. Please study and learn these, guys. Please, please, please make sure you understand the content of these 2 pages. It is extremely important. Please go back over it if you don't, but make sure that you don't leave it until you really understand what was covered and where I got the answers from and why I did what I did. And then investigate coloured cubes. And again, you'll have to improvise here, guys. You might have to colour in pieces of paper, ball them up and put them into a hat. And you can conduct your study here. And you might need, you need pair work, so you'll need a sister, a brother, or a mum or dad. And then you just, it's going to be out of a possibility of 6. So remember, when you get one, remember I said to you when you're expressing a number as a fraction, you put the number over the total number. So if I want to express, I got 2 out of 12 spellings right. Therefore, I put 2 over 12 out of 12. And when it's expressed in the simplest form, I got a 1/6 of my spelling test right. Okay. Now, investigate coloured cubes. Again, 12 coloured cubes this time. So we're going to be expressing as a 12th. And again, I suppose, guys, if you are putting 3 over 12, just say you got 3 over 12, that would be a quarter in the simplest form, 4 over 12, a third in the simplest form, and etc. Okay, guys? So you have to answer that, to do the frequency table, and you do your tally. Remember, bundles of 5 to make it easier to count. Your total, and then a fraction, you're expressing it as a fraction of, a total. It must be a total. I haven't read it. So it's a total of 48, because you must be doing it 48 times. Is it 4 people? Group work. Put 12 colour cube. Okay. Predict which cube. Get into group. Yeah, 4. Okay, guys, that's why, because get into groups of 4. Each person will pull the cube out 12 times. So that's 12 by 4. That's where you're getting the 48th. And remember, express it in its simplest form where possible. Okay, the fraction in its simplest form where possible. And then after the investigation, answer the following questions. So this question will be based on your investigation carried out in this question. Okay, in 4. And then, guys, so oh God, 100 times. If you draw a cube from the bag and put it back 100 times, how many times would you expect to draw each of these to the nearest whole number? So, guys, again, using your mathematical estimation and prediction, you decide, would you be expected to do the red cube, the blue cube, and the black cube? Okay, out of 100 times, considering there are those cubes, those coloured cubes in it. And then last but not least, the number line. Can you show on the number line the chance of pulling out each coloured cube from the bag? So there's the bag. Again, we're going back to the bag. There are 4 purple. There are 2 olive greens, whatever. Then there's, you know, guys, I'm not really good with my greens. That's an emerald green, isn't it? And then 1 yellow and 2 reds, okay? And you just use that to... the chance of pulling it out. So you have to put it over, there's 12 cubes, so it'll be going to be expressed as a 12th, or if you want to express it in its simplest form, it could be a quarter, a third, a half. Okay, guys? Or it could be 2/3. Right? So here we have the number line. Okay? Now, we have, if you start, you never count the first marking. In junior infants, you never counted that. You assume this is 0 and then you start counting. Remember that from junior and senior infants, you count. So if you start counting, you get 12 markings. So 12ths. You've got 12ths. Okay. And then again, if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you have 6ths there, and that would be equivalent to 2 12ths if you can get it. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 quarters there, which is equivalent to 1, 2, 3 12ths. Do you see that, guys? And then you have 1, and the same again, 2, and then you have 3, okay? And then that's equivalent to 1, 2, 3, 4 12ths. So you see that, guys? We know 4 over 12, 4 into 4 goes once, 4 into 12 goes 3 times a third. So that's where you get the third. But a third is equal to, look again, 1, 2, 3, 4 12ths. A quarter is equal to 1, 2, 3 12ths. And a half is equal to 6 12ths. Do you see that, guys? And then the same over here. You'll have 1/3, 1/3, 2/3, and 2/3 is the same as 8 over 12. Can you see that, guys? And if you divide, if you express 8 over 12 in this form, you divide 4 goes into 8 and 4 goes into 12 evenly, and what you do to the top, you do to the bottom, what you do to the bottom, you do to the top, what you do to the numerator, you do to the denominator, what you do to the denominator, you do to the numerator. So 4 into 8 goes twice, 4 into 12 goes 3 times 2, 2 over 3. So 2 over 3 is the exact same as 8 over 12, expressed in its simplest form. So could you do those, guys, and we'll have the answers uploaded for you tomorrow, please. And thanks again for tuning in, guys, and paying attention. And again, may I stress that if you're not sure about length, please go back, listen over to the questions and how the answers were achieved, and you might have to stop it several times just to take it in and absorb it, because obviously I'm not there to go and look over your work individually, and also to call you up to me if you're having a slight problem. So you need to go back over and see what's in front of you, examine it, and ensure, like, make sure that you really understand what is covered in this lesson. You understand it thoroughly. Thanks so much, boys and girls, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow. I appreciate you tuning in and giving Miss Campbell and Miss Walker all your time and dedication. Talk to you tomorrow, please God. Bye, guys.